What's up everybody, it's your boy Proftrof and we're back again with another Penguins video. This is Moist Meter, Cyberpunk 2077. Okay, so the game came out and it came out about as well as I expected it to come out. Bugs, performance issues, I was expecting that. Anyone that was not expecting that was fucking delusional, let's be fucking honest. The game is rushed, it's gonna get better. It's a Witcher 3. What happened with Witcher 3 happened with this game. For one to one. Like, if y'all don't remember the Witcher 3 release, yeah, it was interesting, okay? It was very interesting. Y'all remember Witcher 3 release date, inventory management? Okay. Anyway, I'm curious to see where it went. Like, from my experience with the game is, I love the game. I'm gonna be honest with you, I enjoy this more than The Witcher 3 currently. The story is amazing. Everything that's scripted in this game is amazing. Everything that's not scripted is kind of shit. The performance is kind of shit. Bugs don't really matter to me, mostly because like I've played Fallout 3 when it released, I played Skyrim when it released, I played Fallout 4 when it released, New Vegas when it released, so I have very advanced training when dealing with bugs, and the bugs in this game, I didn't see that many comparatively to those games, so I was pretty happy. Anyway, let's see. I'm curious what he's gonna see. By the way, I play this shit on PC because I don't have any consoles, so I cannot speak about PlayStations, Xboxes, and all that shit.
This episode was brought to you by Shut.
What was that other console that only 3 people in the world have that are playing, that got released, the Cyberpunk guy released for it? Sadie or whatever it was called? I don't remember. Yeah, no.
Initiating moisture.
Let's get to it.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're taking a look at Cyberpunk 2077, the most hyped video game I've ever seen. The hype for this game would have you believe that it was going to change gaming forever. Even before anyone ever picked up the game, they were talking about how it was going to usher in an era of peace and progress for the human species and revolutionize our medical industry in the real world and give us wetter dreams. The hype for this game was an absolute curse for the final product. No matter what CD Projekt Red delivered, it could be the best video game ever made. It was still going to disappoint people who put these incredible, unrealistic expectations on it. But now that the game is finally out, the question begs to be asked, does it live up to the hype? Has gaming truly evolved? Have we entered this new, enlightened era for our species thanks to Cyberpunk 2077? God bless Cyberpunk 2077? The answer is no. This game never stood a chance at reaching those expectations, but that's not to say the game is bad. In fact, it's a good game. I'd even go as far as to call it a very good game. But there's a lot of problems with it, the biggest of course being its performance. I have to talk about that right away. This game is borderline unplayable on PlayStation 4 and just consoles in general. It barely gets above 20 FPS. The bugs are outrageous. Not just goofy bugs, but actual game-breaking ones where missions will just not work, and you'll have to go through hoops to try and make the game fucking function. It is a disaster in terms of its performance. It is the buggiest game I have ever played at launch, aside from something like the Culling 2, but that's not really fair because you can't call the Culling 2 a buggy game considering the only glitch that game had was the fact that nobody bought it, so the games couldn't start. It wasn't really a performance thing, just no one wanted that piece of shit. But this game is absolutely disastrous with its performance. Even on PC, I encountered so many problems. Missions I couldn't start, NPCs that wouldn't spawn. I had to save, load multiple times and try tons of different ways.
Okay. Question for other people that played this game on PC. Did y'all have, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, the only bugs I've had were T-poses and visual bugs. And I think I had like one audio bug. Like, I've had 0 problems with missions and shit like that. Maybe I was just lucky though, I don't know.
Trying to make a single NPC spawn so I could start a side quest. Had to fucking set up a Rube Goldberg machine like, oh, maybe if I set up my car to self-drive itself to me, and then I save load, and then hop in the car, maybe then the NPC will spawn. I just had to come up with all kinds of like theory-crafted scientific hypotheses to make the fucking NPC spawn to start some of these quests. It was really frustrating. There's a genuine problem with this game and its performance. It doesn't really run that well. Even on like the best settings on the best PC, you're still going to have FPS drops. You're still going to encounter so many glitches. It's crazy. I am actually shocked at the state that this game is in on launch. Now, that aside, let's actually talk about the game once you can actually play it. It's good. I do like it. I think the narrative is great. I think most of the characters are very well written and very interesting. I absolutely love the world. The universe here inside.
Fully agree. Like the story is one of the best I've ever seen, and it's one of the few games. Like in the last couple, I've always been a gamer. Okay, I've loved playing games for most of my life, and in the last couple of years, I've not had any game that's made me not sleep in order to play it. Okay, I've not had sleepless nights due to gaming in a year or two. I had it with this fucking game. I've played it too fucking much, brother, and I'm still playing it.
Cyberpunk 2077 is not only visually breathtaking and one of the best looking games I've ever seen in terms of its graphics and its art style and just visuals in general, but it just feels alive. As you're exploring Night City, you're going to encounter a ton of different shit, people asking for help. You know, there's a dude out there who's burnt his dick trying to get a
I played that shit last night. It was hilarious.
dick augmentation, so now you have to drive him to the clinic so he can repair his penis before it burns itself off. There's just so much to do, and there's just so many things to.
And while you're driving him to the clinic, on the way there's this pack of children. There's this group of children crossing the street, so you gotta wait for them. He goes like mow them down.
To encounter and just explore in the world. It really does feel alive. It's not like you're just wandering around a barren wasteland with no one in it, nothing to do, and just putting fingers up your asshole as you wait for the next side quest or main quest. There's just tons of tiny things you can do around the world, and I really appreciate that. The universe, the world, it is absolutely 10 out of 10 in that department. Great. The game is beautiful to look at. The design choices are great. I love the aesthetic of the game. I can't talk enough about how much I enjoyed that. And to complement all of it, you have great soundtrack. Every fucking song in this game is a banger. It really is. I didn't hear a single song that came on that I was like, damn, that shit is stinky. It's not good. I was always like, fuck, turn that shit up. I don't care if I get DMCA'd on Twitch. That's a great fucking song right there. The soundtrack in this game is so good. The score is great. They crushed it in that department as well. But now we're going to get on to some of the things that I think are a bit of a shortcoming for it, even aside from just the massive glaring problems with performance. I think the gunplay is super stiff. I think it's clunky. I think it feels like it's straight out of 2009. It is not the best gunplay. It's not tight. It's very floaty. I just didn't really find myself liking the gunplay that much. And the guns themselves, I think, are cool and pretty imaginative. But the main differences between guns are just stat changes.
Okay. I gotta talk about it. I disagree fully. Okay, so what I think, and I kind of understand why he's saying this. Okay, listen. If you do the main story and you do like the main story related missions, side quests for people you meet in the main story, you're not gonna encounter that many unique weapons, iconic weapons as they're called, because most of those are scattered in these little police things. This game, it fucking trains. I think this is a big shortcoming of the game, but not really the game's fault. It trains you very well. Like when you open the map in this game, there is a shit ton of objectives. Okay, so you figure out, you think this is what I thought when I first started playing this game. Okay, everything is mapped. So if I go to an area that's not mapped, I'm not gonna encounter anything. Well, that's fucking wrong, and that's very wrong, because some of the best weapons I've found have been in places that are not marked. There is a fucking talking gun. I found like 6 unique katanas or 5, and each of them plays different. There was one that's like, if you don't crit, you don't do damage. If you crit, you fucking one-shot enemies. Well, not really one-shot. The katana gameplay is fucking... I go around fucking taking limbs. Boy, that shit is so fucking fun. The gorilla fisting enemies, that shit fun as fuck. Gunplay, I kind of agree. At the start of the game, gunplay is trash. And it's not because of the weapons, it's because you have no skill in them. Now, when you get to like level 15, 10, 15 in handguns, and you put some points in it, they become fucking lasers. You have no problem hitting people. It feels responsive as fuck. It's amazing. But the start feels very bad. I agree with that. But then again, you have like the smart targeting systems, you have like the power weapons that shoot through walls. Bruh, there is so many choices, so many different guns. The iconic weapons feel very different than normal weapons. I disagree with this point. I feel like, yeah.
Different categories of weapons, but it doesn't really change that much because every weapon kind of functions the same. And throughout my playthrough, I played on hard. and I never really encountered any times where I was like, damn, I need to mix and match my guns here to suit the enemies I'm facing. You basically just choose whatever gun has the highest damage output.
That's
It's
kind of
just
true, I
base
guess.
DPS. Instead of like, oh, I'm going up against robots, I should look for electrical damage elementals or anything. You never have to worry about that. You just choose whatever has the highest number, like a fucking caveman.
With that, I feel like I was changing my cyber like quick hacks a lot when I was facing robots to have that thing that does electrical damage, like quick surge or whatever it's fucking called, that fries the robots. That was fucking OP as fuck. What is them?
So I didn't like the gunplay. It didn't feel that great. There are a lot of options when approaching combat, such as hacking. You can scan enemies and quick hack them, which can do things like overheat them or turn off their eyesight for a second or make them forget they're in combat, which is all pretty cool, but it's just a novelty. It doesn't really do much to help you. It's kind of pointless because in the time it...
What do you mean it's pointless, bro? Listen. This is wrong. I realize why he's saying this. He's saying this because he did not invest points into the quick hacking. Like when you invest enough points into quick hacking, you can quick hack all the fucking time. There is this thing that recharges your shit, and there like you can short circuit them, you can put them on fire, you can turn out their eyesight, as he said, you can stop them from moving, you can make their weapons malfunction, you can make them suicide and shit. I haven't found suicide, I don't think, but yeah, I mean, I don't need it. I have like...
It takes to hack them. You could have just killed them with a gun.
No. Once you upgrade your cyberware, it hacks them in like a split second.
Or melee. I spent the majority of the game going through a melee build. I went for max coolness. There's a lot of perks and a lot of attribute points that you allocate in the game. And I went for the coolness category, which involves stealth and something called cold-blooded, which is passives that you stack up to give you other bonuses. I didn't really use stealth. Stealth was pretty boring. But the cold-blooded was pretty cool, and it worked really well with my melee build. So I went through the whole game just going absolutely just straight fucking wild on them. I had an electric baton, and I just started one-shotting some of the big bosses towards the end and just bending cheeks over and putting both fists in their asshole. Melee build was pretty fucking great. And coupling my good weapons and good perks with good cyberware augments. Cyberware is another thing that you can be upgrading your character with, which is things that you'll find out in the world and from Ripper docs where you can add them to your character. That'll give you things like a double jump if you put that on your legs. It can give you other things like gorilla arms and monowire, all kinds of different things that kind of change the way your character plays. And I do like cyberware a lot. But when it comes to the actual perks, I think a lot of the perks are really uninspired. It's just flat percentage increases. There's a few that do change how some of the things function fundamentally, but for the most part, the perks that you're getting are just percentage increases, which is a little boring. I would have liked to see a little...
Listen, it's boring, but when you take a perk system, there is two ways you can go. You either lock abilities behind the perk system, which makes it feel like you're progressing, but it feels awful in the beginning because you don't have all the perks, right? So you have things that you cannot do at the start of the game that you can do later on. They went the opposite way and letting you do everything in the start, but just making you better at it with perks, which I like that a lot better.
A little more creativity from some of the perks instead of just, hey, putting a point in here gives you 5% bonus damage with blunt weapons. I would have liked to just see a couple other things that would change it up a bit. But there's so many things you can put points into. I understand that would just be also unrealistic to ask of them. So it's not a huge complaint, just a little nitpick there. I do like how much there is that you can play around with. There's a lot of things you can find. You can upgrade your weapons through finding crafting materials in the world, going to vending machines, scrapping some soda cans, get some parts, upgrade your weapons. Like, you're going to be doing a lot of min-maxing if you care about a really great build and just being overpowered fucking badass, traveling the night city. There's a lot you can do to min-max, and I like that. But again, I still do feel like the actual gameplay with guns and even melee to a certain extent is just very stiff and a bit outdated. And you're going to encounter glitches when doing that. Oftentimes when running my melee build, I'd run into a glitch where I'd beat someone to death and just absolutely club the shit out of them, clobber them, give them the old whopperoonie, and then I can't sprint for the rest of the mission. I'd have to like force load a save in order to get the ability to sprint back, and it was just a real headache. Things that are out of your...
Bro, I might be lucky as fuck. That's never happened to me. I might just be lucky as fuck, I don't know. But did he play this game on PC or on a console? Because if he played on console, I can understand.
Control and just bugs that really shouldn't be here. Also, sticking in terms of gameplay here, the AI is sometimes godlike in this omniscient super being that's able to know exactly where you are and just smell...
Okay, that's not my experience with the AI. The AI in this game is garbage. Especially if you're stealthing. Like they are fucking retarded. They don't know what the fuck is
All
happening.
your farts from across the map and hunt you down like a rabid animal. They'll be shooting you through cover, curving bullets around the pillar that you're hiding behind, and just popping a full round in your dick hole without you even being able to see them. And then some other times, the AI is the dumbest shit you've ever seen in the world, where you have to wonder, is the game even working anymore? The AI will be looking right at you while you're crouched. You can be in front of them, touching their shins, giving them a back massage, and they won't be alerted to your presence. So the AI is just really inconsistent with its difficulty. Again, I stayed on hard the whole game, and it was never really that challenging to begin with. But sometimes you'd have moments where you're just getting one shot from someone that you never saw, and they're using like a fucking slingshot or like shooting spitballs out of a straw, and they're one-shotting you at full health. And then other times you can take a million bullets because they're like stormtroopers and can't hit you, or they just don't even fucking see you because they're just standing there on patrol with their eyes closed. It was just all over the place with it, with its difficulty. So the gameplay really is probably one of the weakest parts about the game, of course, putting aside performance issues. Now, let's talk about the length of the game, because I see that being a complaint for a lot of people. 8 years for only 15, 20 hours. Ridiculous shit.
Okay, a quick note. For anyone that said that they beat this game in 15 hours or 20 hours, I think either they are lying or they were skipping dialogue. And they just did the main story. Because I cannot... Like, my first playthrough through this game, doing the main story, and like a couple side quests took me like 30 to 40 hours. I think it was above 40 hours actually. And now I'm doing the game and doing like a lot of side quests, most of it, and they're amazing. And like it's probably gonna take me above 100 hours easily.
Like that. The main missions, I finished the game in roughly 30-ish hours in total, and I did quite a few side missions, but I'd say the main missions probably did take me around like 18 hours or something like that. And the main missions were very good. It's a lot of dialogue, and for a lot of people that's a big turnoff all of a sudden, or at least they pretend it is. I remember when everyone was losing their fucking minds over how perfect Red Dead Redemption 2 is, and I'd say that had far more scenes of just dialogue than this game has. So I don't know why that's a complaint all of a sudden, but keep in mind, yes, the main missions have a lot of dialogue, it's a lot of exposition, but I think it's all good. I think it's all well written. When it's not glitching out, because oftentimes during these fucking cutscenes and during the dialogue, you'll have people shouting a million lines at you because the dialogue's overlapping, so you have 9 conversations going when you're trying to get the fucking narrative fed to you, so you have no idea what's going on, so you have to reload in order to get the actual lines delivered at the right time, as opposed to 9 lines overlapping. So, but again, that's just another fucking bug in this game that happens way too often. When you're actually getting the narrative, though, I think it's good, it's well written, it's engaging, the story's good, the plot's nice, and the ending that I got, I thought was a happy ending. I got a very happy ending, but it was a bit weak. There were a lot of things that were unresolved, and from what I saw of the other endings, none of the endings are all that great, which isn't the biggest deal in the world because the whole journey there is good, and I really liked it, especially Johnny Silverhand, and I see a lot of people calling out Keanu Reeves' acting, and admittedly, a lot of times it is flat. Like when he's supposed to be angry, he doesn't really sound angry, but it's Keanu Reeves, and I think it's still a very good performance for the most part because it makes you care about the character. And I just like Keanu Reeves. I can't say anything fucking bad about Keanu Reeves. I still liked it, and Johnny Silverhand still is a cool character. But anyway, I keep getting off topic. The narrative is good. The main missions are good, but mostly dialogue. You will be just mainly experiencing dialogue when doing main missions, and yes, there is about 18 hours worth. The real meat of the game comes from the side quests and the side jobs and all the other missions that aren't with the main. This is where most of your character development is going to happen. This is where most of your bonding with the characters is going to happen. And this is also where some things can play into the ending. For example, I did a side quest line that allowed me to access some certain things in the ending that I wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So I think the side missions are probably the best part of the game. I found those to be extremely high quality, very interesting, and really got me to understand more about this very interesting cast of characters. So I think the side quests are spectacular, and there's a lot more action in those. It isn't just shooting once every 30 minutes in between dialogue. There's a lot more going on in the side quest than I'd say go on in the main quest in terms of action and shit.
But by the way, he didn't mention this. Like this game, when you play most of the quests, it's kind of like Deus Ex. Like you have a lot of choices on how you want to tackle each objective. And during the main quest, I found a lot of little things that I did. The game doesn't let you know that you can do that shit. Okay, there's this one mission where after you've abducted a certain NPC, you get attacked in a house, and you think the other NPC is dead. I'm not gonna spoil shit for you. And the game doesn't let you know that you can actually save him, but you can save him. And I mean, it's a little bit, it's not that hard, but you can save him, and it changes, well, it doesn't change a lot of shit, but it changes some shit. The fucking first quest, when you go with Jackie to the Maelstrom Hive, the one you saw in the trailers and demos and whatever, like that quest can be resolved in like so many different ways. There's an NPC you can save, you can pay them with the Maelstrom chip, you can just kill him, you can knock him out. Like there's so much shit you can do. It's fucking insane. Most of the quests are like that. You can do a lot of ways to do something, which I fucking love.
But I don't think it's a short game. I don't know why people are criticizing it. There's so much content here. There's a lot of meat in here. And especially if you care about min-maxing, there's so many cyberware augments and perks that you're going to want to access and points you want to put in certain places. Like, there's a lot. There is a lot of juice in this juice box. So I don't know where everyone's saying 8 years for, like, no content. I don't know where that's coming from. They clearly haven't played it or didn't really care to, actually play most of it. They just beelined the main story and did it on easy mode, game journalist mode, because it is not a short game. It really isn't. And overall, I'd say it is a good game, but I wouldn't call this a great game. I enjoyed my time with it. I didn't have crazy...
I think it's a great RPG. But if you're not an RPG fan, you might not enjoy it as much.
Expectations of it going in. This is right around what I was expecting, so I was happy. In fact, this is better than I was expecting, so I was pleasantly surprised to be...
I agree. I was expecting a way worse combat system than I got. I loved the combat system. I fucking loved it. It was so good to me.
To be honest. So plugging Cyberpunk 2077 in the moist meter, I would be giving this
75?
game an 80%, but I genuinely just can't justify it being that high when it's in this broken of a state. So I'm going to have to give this game a 70 because there is actual game-breaking problems with it. It is borderline unplayable on some consoles. Like, that's not acceptable. They should have put this baby back in the oven and given it more time to cook. Should have marinated a bit longer to iron out the bugs. I know everyone hates delays and people fucking called in sick to work for a month just to play it, but they should have fucking delayed it again because there's a lot of glaring issues with this game. So I think a 70% is right in line with what it deserves in its current state. Hopefully all those problems will get solved down the line because I do think it is a good game that I do think a lot of people would like if they weren't getting so frustrated with all of the broken parts of it. So yeah, Halloween may be over, but that doesn't mean the horror has to stop there. Today I want to talk about a service called Shudder.
Okay. I kind of agree with his points, I guess. I would give it a higher score. I would give it an 8 out of 10. For me, because I enjoy RPGs and I think I love this game. If it didn't have the performance and the low bugs that I was encountering, it would probably be a lot better. I feel like this is gonna be a Witcher 3 in a year or two when all the DLCs are out, all the small content updates they're gonna give out, all the patches. It's probably gonna be one of the greatest games ever, and everyone's gonna love it. But for now, it's Witcher 3. A little bit buggy, not as good. It's gonna get fixed. I'm pretty sure it's gonna get fixed and everyone's gonna love it in a year, but I guess we'll see. I'm excited for the DLCs. Don't know when they're gonna come. I'm excited for what they're gonna fix. I feel like they're gonna do a lot with this game, like after release, but fuck it, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they just aren't gonna touch it anymore and it's gonna die. I still enjoyed it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm probably gonna play this shit for the next week or two straight up. Anyway, I want to hear what y'all think about this game, your experiences. Don't let me know what y'all have heard from other media. I don't give a fuck if you're just stealing someone's opinion. I want to hear what your experience with the game, if you've played it, is. Okay? Let me know that in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Everybody have a nice fucking day.